Hello again, YouTube viewers. Just out for another flight. Learned 2 or 3 things from this flight. But here's we'll start out with just Roger. We got our dual runways going. Roger taking off into the air. I'm going to clip in here, and about to make one of my first mistakes here. It was I'm really happy with my launch, but as I got up later, I discovered I rushed a little bit, and Jim even mentioned to me on the ground. He said, "Hey, Gary, you're rushing a little bit," but I went ahead and did it, and took off, and you'll see what my little mistake was here in a bit. The launch I was actually quite happy with it. I think Jim even complimented me. So with a near picture perfect launch and the morning made it nice and easy. Climb up, cruise out, and just enjoy some of the scenery here. I'm going to follow Roger around for the first little bit while we're waiting on Jim to get it launched.
There's some deer. What a beautiful sight. Just don't get this way. Down a little bit.
So, don't have my grounds.
Yep.
And of course, with the really low winds, one of the my favorite thing is to get down low, and still haven't quite done a foot drag yet. Still haven't through this video either, but just love to get down low, especially if there's just a little light wind. And there's Roger meeting up with me in the air a little bit, just enjoying the ride. And if you look off to the right, there's Roger's over just kind of parallel, a little bit ahead of me, flying low through a similar field on the other side of some power lines. And I'm just, again, another opportunity to cruise across here with light, nice early morning wind, lack of winds, and good conditions.
Puckering up over these power lines. That's a serious business.
Yeah, that was my comment in flight. For whatever reason, whenever I go over these high voltage, long distance power transmission lines, I always seem to tense up a little bit more. It's kind of silly. I mean, if I'm going to fall from that height, if something bad goes wrong, the fall's going to get me as much as the power lines, but I don't know, something about their presence makes me worry. But jumped over the lines over here. Again, Roger's in the field to the right of me doing his low pass over there, and I'm kind of paralleling. And I think somewhere right about this time is when I finally realized what was causing me to turn to the right a little bit. If you look at my riser there, it's twisted. I had a half twist in it from when I clipped in on the right side, and thought about, should I land? We were couple miles out already. Should I land or not? But I don't know if that's a good choice or a bad choice. It really wasn't affecting the wing except for a little bit of a right turn, and so I kept flying. And again, enjoying some more the great air here, getting down low, going through a field.
Now this is what I enjoy. It's probably more dangerous, but this is so nice. Cruising, knowing that you got fairly light wind, hopefully not too bumpy. The rotor's not over those trees, it should be to the north or behind me. That was different.
Yeah, and right here's where I decided, hey, I better get home, better get to the launch site, the landing site. I knew something was up with the exhaust. In the next second or so, if you listen carefully, you'll hear what I think is a prop strike. Yeah, there it was. That's probably one of the nuts coming all the way off of the studs that hold the exhaust on. Yeah, and here I am. Jim's already come in for a landing, and I come on down, land, and curious to see what I find. I know something's up with the exhaust. And here's Roger coming in for a landing.
On the pavement. Almost. Oh, I got an exhaust loose or something. Oh, yeah. I wonder if I got a damaged prop. Yep. Yep.
All right, so post-flight wrap up. Today's lesson for this newbie paramotor and two-cycle mechanic, wannabe mechanic, was check your nuts. The nuts on check everything on your paramotor before, a little more often than I was doing. I'll show you what happened here. Get to the bottom of the motor, put a little light on, shed a little light on the situation. If you notice the exhaust, I got the springs and safety wires holding it all together. There should be nuts right there. There should be nuts. That's basically the stud that comes out of the engine block and holds the exhaust up to it. There's another one over here, right here. I don't know if you can see that real well. I can't see the screen, but basically the nuts are gone on both this side and the back side. Happened in flight. I probably should have landed out. You know, I heard it start to sound different, the exhaust leaking. Have no way of knowing if the nuts were already gone when I first heard that. Probably the nuts were still on there. But I decided I was almost back to my LZ. I was within a mile of it. Decided I would make it back, you know, the convenience of getting back to where you launch from. And kept going. And of course I never heard anything hit the prop. But when this nut and that nut went off, if you notice, I don't have the prop on the motor. And the reason for that, there's a reason for that. And it's because my prop here on my little workbench, if you look down, pretty good gash out of this side. There's a previous repair where the heads of my starter, a couple nuts on the starter sheared off and went through the prop. I don't know, still don't know why that happened. It doesn't make sense to me that they would shear off like that. But anyway, got that side, and then if we go down to the other side, we've got maybe a little bit more damage here than you can see. Nothing too major here. Could certainly fix that with some baking soda and ZA, I would think. But let's see. One thing, you know, this is the side that's a little more heavily damaged. I'm going to flip it over. It's not obvious, the crack here. But if you notice here, there's a crack all running down here, and I can kind of flex it. So I suppose I could be bold, cut through that, clamp it down, make, cut this off basically is what I understand, and make the crack runs all right through there. But basically cut it out and then glue it up with some nice epoxy and clamp it down again. Could probably get this going, and I'd need to rebalance the prop. I'll think about doing that. I probably will try to repair this or get it repaired by a professional or something. But for now, I've ordered a new prop and some new nuts. So yeah, check your nuts. And actually check everything on your paramotor maybe a little more frequently than I do. Right now, I know one thing I need to do is check my spark plug, see how rich or lean it looks. So I'm going to do that here in a second. But I think I've got a propeller coming in. Should be in the next day or two through the mail. Chad at Mini Plane or Trike Buggy got one in the mail to me pretty quick. Appreciate the quick service. So yeah, that's it.